People are moving down here. I mean, we're from Canada. We have a lot of friends from the United States, friends from Europe. A lot of people are coming down here, whether it's Tulum or Playa, because they're looking for quality of life. And under quality of life, let's talk about costs. They want to, the cost of living. I mean, I lived in Vancouver for a long time. It's one of the most.
I mean, I lived in Montreal. It's not comparable to Vancouver.
Not comparable, but still.
What you used to pay for a 1-2 bedroom is uncomparable.
Unbelievable, but still, the cost of living in Canada and the United States, most cities north of here, it's getting to the point where people feel like they're drowning. They can't get ahead. So coming here, let's talk about some of the costs.
It's a breath of fresh air.
It's a breath of fresh air. It really is. So
splash of sunshine.
It's with a splash of sunshine. So let's come down. So let's start. Let's talk about some of the cost.
Yeah, just to give them an idea of what it costs to your electricity.
Right. So first of all, rents. Let's talk about rents.
Yes.
Okay. So rents have gone up quite a bit because of a lot of expats moving down here.
All over the world, they've gone up, I think.
However, they're still relatively affordable considering some of the prices we're seeing in Vancouver, Toronto, Montreal, even Miami, Los Angeles, cities like that. So rents in Playa del Carmen and Tulum, long term, if you're looking to live long term, I have a 1-bedroom, I am paying 16,500 pesos, which is not even $1,000 right now at today's exchange rate. $1,000, it's a large 1-bedroom, a huge terrace, and that my rent includes, and again, I can only talk about what I'm living today, so that's why we're trying to give you the best information of what's happening today. My rent includes water and gas because I have a gas stove. So for about $1,000, I have a nice large unit right off of 5th Avenue, which is fantastic in Playa del Carmen. I'm about 500 meters away from the beach, so I can go and see the sunrise. That's fantastic. However, I do have to still pay, not included in my rent, I have to pay my electricity bill and I have to pay my Wi-Fi. So
and if you're not careful, your electricity bill can be quite high. If you leave your air conditioner on all day, it can run quite high.
It can run quite high. So,
but it can also be pretty affordable.
It can be affordable. So for example, if I'm not running my air conditioning on, if it's not on all the time, I'm usually around 500 pesos every 2 months. So that's about, $30 every 2 months. And then in the summer, when I'm running my air conditioning on all the time, then I'm going all the way up to around 2,000, 2,500 every 2 months, which is still about $60 a month. So very affordable. Wi-Fi, what do you pay for Wi-Fi?
I actually don't pay for Wi-Fi. My Wi-Fi is included in my rent. Which my rent, by the way, I'm on 38th Street, and I pay 1,600
for a 2-bedroom.
US for a 2-bedroom, and that's a fantastic price actually for the.
Because you have a lot of amenities too.
Yeah, the building that I'm in, I mean, most people pay that for a 1-bedroom sometimes. So I did get a really fantastic deal, and I'm very grateful and very lucky. But my Wi-Fi is included. My electricity, however, is around 2,000 to 3,000
every 2 months.
Every 2 months.
Right. So running air conditioning and so on. So my Wi-Fi is 585 pesos per month, which is nothing. I was paying over $100 in Canada for my Wi-Fi. So rents have gotten much higher than when I first moved here, but still in most major cities they are still a lot more affordable. And electricity, still more affordable. I think a lot of my friends in Vancouver or Montreal, heating, this and that, you're $200, $400 a month. It's still a lot more affordable. Okay, so now we've covered gas. Gas is very inexpensive. Water is very inexpensive. It's a non-topic.
Yeah.
What else do we have?
I mean, if you wanted to buy a property, your property taxes every single year are essentially peanuts. I mean, you're paying $200 to $300 a year.
I think
for property taxes.
Yeah, the highest I've seen was about $400 for the entire year, which is nothing. And then if you were to own a property here, then let's talk about some maintenance. So if you need a plumber, an electrician, someone to come and do some painting, any kind of renovations, very inexpensive, much more affordable.
I mean, just to get a plumber to fix something in your toilet is maybe 200 pesos.
200 or 300 pesos, whereas in Canada it's $200 or $300 just to get a plumber to your house. Or in the United States. So very affordable in terms of owning a property and maintaining it. And then if you're living in a condo building, then a lot of the exterior is handled by the HOA. Let's talk about HOAs. Typically, it's $2.5 per square meter, all the way up to $3, maybe $3.5 per square meter. So just take the number of square meters times 2.5 or $3 or $3.50, and you'll get your
typical HOA.
Right.
Can be a little bit higher. I mean, sometimes if you have these extravagant amenities in your building,
several elevators.
Yeah, I mean, there's even a building where you have, owners access to a beach, to a private beach. I mean, obviously your HOA will be a little bit more expensive, but it depends. But that would be about the average. Yeah. So what
$200
else?
to $300 a month for HOA.
Yeah,
Some are $150.
HOA.
Yeah, so that's pretty much
some maintenance.
That's pretty much it, and that's pretty much the same between Tulum and Playa. It's around the same. Mm-hmm. What has to change is when you leave.
Yeah, you go outside your door, what are you spending your money on? Cabs, restaurants, nightlife.
Right. Your day-to-day outside of your home.
Yeah.
That's the difference. And let's talk about that real quick. So Playa del Carmen.
Playa del Carmen, I would say, is the most affordable city compared to Tulum. So Tulum, like we touched on the distribution, how Playa is very walkable, so you don't really need to take a cab. And if you do, I mean, taking a cab from one part of Playa to the other part of Playa, 50 pesos. I mean, I don't really...
50 to 100 pesos
50 to 100 pesos max. I mean, if you're going outside of Playa, maybe 150, but you're really not paying more than that. I mean, Tulum,
the distribution is very spread out, so you do need a vehicle, or you can ride your bike or rent an ATV.
But even though the distribution, it's the same distance, and you're paying like triple or quadruple what you're paying in Playa sometimes. I mean, just to get from Aldea, which is closer to the highway, if you're not familiar, between the highway and the beach zone, if you're taking a 10-minute cab ride, you're paying upwards of 400 pesos.
400 to 500, sometimes 600. Really depends, and it depends on where you're from.
Yeah,
if you're
speak Spanish.
If you're very, what can I say, tourist-like, then yes, it can be a lot more. So again, between leaving the home, it's very comparable living in Tulum and in Playa in terms of renting a place and your daily expenses at home. However, again, leaving the place.
Yeah, so taxis are more
expensive, transportation is more expensive in Tulum compared to Playa. Yeah. And in Playa, again, you can walk everywhere, so that may not even be an option in Tulum.
I also think that in Playa, there's so many more opportunities to do things that don't cost money.
Exactly.
I mean, I walk outside of my home. Maybe I'm a little bit biased because I do live in Playa and I love it so much, but I walk outside of my home with my dog and I end up, I stumble upon someone that I know. We end up getting coffee. Then after coffee, I bring my dog home. Then, they invite me to a bachata or salsa on the rooftop. You end up doing that. And it's just I just walk everywhere, and the night kind of flows, and I kind of just go with the flow of the night. But I don't feel like I'm going to places, spending money, needing to take a cab somewhere, spending more money, needing to go to the beach. So actually, that's something else that we can touch on is the beach access, because you do need to pay now in Tulum to access a part of the beach.
Right. So from Coba North, there's the Jaguar Park. They're charging 50 to 100 pesos to get onto the beach there. And then the beach access in the rest of the hotel zone in Tulum is a little difficult sometimes to get onto the beach, which can sometimes be an issue. Whereas in Playa, basically at the end of almost every street, you can walk onto the beach and it's a non-issue. As you're mentioning, when you're going out, there's a lot of things you can do in Playa if you just want to, walk onto the beach, sit down, enjoy the sunrise, go to a rooftop and enjoy a rooftop dance party. If you're not consuming anything, you can still just attend and enjoy the dancing and not really have to spend any money. Whereas in Tulum, when you are consuming in Tulum, the prices are much higher. If you're in the hotel zone in Tulum on the beach and you're ordering any type of food, you are going to see a much higher price point than Playa del Carmen. Alcohol, a lot of the beach club establishments in Tulum, it's pay to use and pay. It usually includes some consumption, but it can be pretty pricey, especially in the high season.
I mean, we went to a beach club, beach restaurant.
A beach restaurant.
And we got truffle fries, and we sent
an order of fries, and it was 375 pesos, which I think today now is around $22 American.
Yeah, I mean Canadian, that's almost $30 for fries.
So these are the kind of things. Now, if you're coming on vacation and you already have a budget for your vacation, you just want to splurge and have a good time, great. But if you're going to live here and spend some time, it is going to be a little bit more expensive for you to spend time
Absolutely.
in Tulum, moving around and enjoying some of the
But I will say, if you love Tulum because you love a little bit more seclusion, you love more nature, Playa is kind of like this urban jungle. There's a lot of development, still a lot of nature, right? I don't want to say that there's no nature in Playa, but there are more construction and there's less jungle. You know, Tulum has some restrictions where you can only build 30% of the development. Everything else needs to be kept green space, right? So in saying that, you know, Tulum, if you love that seclusion, maybe this is the place for you. You love a little more of a boho lifestyle,
right.
Or you
nature,
really, you really like. I mean, there's Zamna, all of the music festivals. You know, world-renowned DJs come down here. Tulum's an amazing place, you know. So if you're more of a young professional, you know, maybe in your early 20s or your 30s, even your 40s, right? That would be a great place for you, but it's just something to keep in mind. I think that Playa also lends itself to more families.
Yeah.
It's more mixed in the type of travelers and also expats that come to move down here and live here.
It's true. So Tulum definitely, as Monica mentioned, is more aligned with nature, holistic, healing, that type of vibe. And Playa has become more of a city. Playa does have a demographic of young professionals, does have a demographic of a lot more families now, and then a lot of retirees. Tulum, I think, is more, maybe families would come and visit, but not necessarily live here. Does definitely lend itself more to someone who practices yoga, loves to be in nature, loves to be close to the beach as well, wants to go to the beach. And
it's more trendy.
And wants to go to the music festivals and the nice DJs in the evenings, or the night parties, or even the day parties on the beach. It's got more of that vibe, and maybe someone who doesn't mind riding their bike everywhere.
It's great exercise. Listen,
it is.
You're gonna be fit.
In the heat, you're going to be fit.
You're going to be sweating. You're going to be very fit.
So to recap, I think if you're looking to make a move here on a more permanent basis, you need to take into consideration that the living expenses can be comparable. However, leaving your home and going out and enjoying what the city has to offer, I do believe that Tulum is definitely on the higher end in terms of prices, and perhaps has fewer services and amenities and things to do, less variety of things to do as opposed to Playa, less diverse, as opposed to Playa del Carmen. So those are the things to take into consideration. Both places are amazing. We live in Playa, but we come to Tulum often. And
it's a retreat for me.
It is.
I love to come down here.
And we have friends that live here.
Yeah, of course, and disconnect. I mean, it's a beautiful place.
Right.
I absolutely love it. But can I live long term? I'd rather Playa, you know.
Yeah, and it really comes down to your taste.
Personal preference, yeah.
Best thing to do is have an idea of what type of property you're looking for, and then we will find the best options in both cities, and then we'll take you on the tour for both cities, show both properties, and then you can decide by the feeling which city is really aligned with you, and that'll make it much easier to make the decision.
Yeah, because it really does come down to a vibe. I mean,
you have to feel it.
You have to feel it.